Kelley and Peter have reunited and are reportedly working on their relationship. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We have got to talk about the latest with Kelley and Peter, but before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring, and I'm joined by the lovely Avery Grooms. Avery, I did not expect to be talking about this. I have to say, I'm a little shocked. Let's just get into everything that's happened. As of course we know, we've talked about Kelley and Peter sort of abruptly broke up and made it Instagram official not too long ago. But they were just spotted attending the same pre-Super Bowl party over the weekend. They broke up in late December, and of course, they haven't publicly shared, what the status of their relationship is. No new statements since the breakup. But they were spotted hanging out at this party. A source said, quote, they were together the entire night. The source told E! News they looked happy and were having fun, drinking and dancing together and with their friends. So, Avery, my question to you is, obviously, this wasn't a coincidence. They had to have known they were each going to be at this party. And then they spent the night together, very publicly. Which, they're public figures. They had to know that there was a chance this was going to get out. So what do you make of this public reunion?
Definitely, like you said, was not a coincidence. I think they planned to do this all as maybe not a PR thing, but when they were going to meet together, they knew it was going to be public. And like you said, they're public figures. That's what they expect. But I think they're in a weird just situation where they want to be with each other, but they can't because of other reasons. So they're still hanging out, but they're not going to label it yet just because they have publicly been through so many ups and downs and who knows what else. So I think they're just taking it slow, but still embracing each other's company.
Yeah, I could totally see that. And that sort of actually lines up with what a source, who, of course, this is a source, this isn't Kelley or Peter, but if this information is correct, the source explained Peter and Kelley knew they were both planning to be in Tampa for the Super Bowl, had plans to meet up. They've been in touch and are working on their relationship. The source was careful to make it clear that they are not back together, but did say Peter has been reaching out to Kelley and regrets their breakup. Kelley is very hesitant and thinks he's not ready to commit to her, but still has feelings for Peter, which is very, very interesting considering all of the ups and downs we have seen with them. I mean, you sort of touched on it. It took them a long time to get to be together. So I'm just curious if you think they could make it work long term. I feel like I've always, to be, blunt, not really seen them as a perfect match, but they definitely have chemistry, right? They definitely have a connection. There clearly is attraction and feelings there. So what are your thoughts? Are we still rooting for them? Do we want them back?
It's hard. It's hard with Peter because it's hard to root for him. We've seen him in relationships and it's just not the best combo. And I feel like if Kelley's hesitant because she thinks he's not ready to commit, I mean, that's already a red flag. She's feeling those feelings for a reason. And yes, she still has feelings for him, but she's not going to commit because she's hesitant for some reason. So I feel like they shouldn't be together at the end of the day. They've tried hard and a lot to make it work and it didn't. But if they were to get back together, I wouldn't be surprised. But then if they were to split again, I also wouldn't be surprised. Like you said, they have chemistry, but I feel like in the long run, they're not a match. I honestly think Kelley's way too good for him at this point.
I know. I've always been very solidly Team Kelley. I'm just not sure if I love her with Peter. But listen, whatever makes her happy, that's what we want. When they split, Kelley did share that they were in two different places. She didn't go too in depth, but she alluded to sort of maybe some of the issues going on behind the scenes. She said, Peter and I had some unbelievable times together, and they will definitely be missed. Unfortunately, him and I are in two different stages of our lives and saw our future paths differently. I wish Peter the absolute best and want to thank everyone for their support. Classic sort of Bachelor breakup post ending. She did add at the end of it, though, that she plans to still move to New York City, a place that they had planned to, of course, relocate together, but are now apparently relocating separately. A separate insider at the time told E! News that the move actually led to some rifts in their romance. The source says Peter ultimately was the one who ended it with Kelley, but she 100% agreed that they needed time apart. They had been fighting a lot, and the move was very stressful and put a lot of pressure on them. So Peter currently lives in New York. Kelley is eventually going to be moving to New York. Do you think that this sort of connection, chemistry they have, plus the fact that, TBD, I don't know her moving plans, but TBD, Kelley might be joining him, in New York City, is what kind of kept that door open?
I think so, especially since, moving to a new place, you don't know as many people as where you came from. And like the fact that he was already one of her significant others, just being in a new environment with that person kind of just triggers like your whole relationship back sometimes. So I feel like they wouldn't be able to do long distance as a couple, but once she gets there, I wouldn't be surprised if they were to just start dating again.
What I think is really interesting is from the obvious, time they spent on the show together, and she again didn't even make it to the final four. They've had such a unique journey, but they publicly sort of got to know each other on TV. Then he got engaged, got unengaged, tried to make things work with Maddie, and then oops, surprise, through that whole TikTok phase of sort of teasing their reunion. Eventually we got a confirmation that they were together. They then shared, a decent amount with fans on social media and, of course, broke up in a very public way. I feel like it's very interesting this path they've taken. A lot of what they've been through so far has played out in the public eye. I just kind of feel like if they're going to make it work this time, they need to like have it rooted very behind the scenes, just the two of them, no eyes, no TikToks. Like if they're going to make this work, I don't
Yeah.
want to see 100 TikToks over the next few months. I feel like that just sets them up, for too many eyes, too much pressure. What do you think?
You're so right because their whole relationship has just been based off of like publicity, whether they want it or not. They also publicize everything they're doing together. So if they were to get back together, I feel like they need to do a couple like solid months back together without telling anyone, and then they can make it public because the last thing we wanna see is them, "Oh, we're back together," and a month later, they break up again because, I mean, classic Peter. So, I mean, I'm rooting for them, like, I would love to see them make it work, but they should be 100% sure probably before coming public with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, listen, against all odds, sort of, they've had a lot of opportunities, a lot of different moments where it could have been the end for them, and ultimately found their way back to each other. Their connection was able to endure, and like I said, an engagement, a non engagement, a new woman coming in and out. Like they clearly have a bond that was strong enough to sort of overcome all of that. So I don't know. Maybe now I'm talking myself into being Team Kelley and Peter. Obviously, we just want them to be happy. But there really is no way of knowing until I think they both settle in New York, start their new lives, and like start basically from scratch to see if they can actually make it in the long run. Also, around the time of their breakup, of course, we're talking about sources, rumors, etc. It's hard to know exactly what went on, but there were some rumors floating around that Barb, the wonderful mother of Peter, who we all know can be a little intense, may have played a role in creating, some pressure or was a little too involved or, just doing the Barb thing. And that could have driven a wedge between them. What are your thoughts? I know Barb is such a big personality. A lot of Bachelor Nation loves her. A lot of Bachelor Nation didn't love her behavior so much when the season was airing. Could you see that being a factor in their split?
I could because we've seen her have a say in his other relationships, and we've seen their relationship from mother to son. He's just been very close with his parents in general. And I feel like he's such a mama's boy, and she's so involved that her input matters and he always takes it into consideration. So I feel like, of course, she was involved in this just because I feel like that's how she is. So if she was to say something, I feel like Peter definitely did or would consider that, and that could potentially affect their whole relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. We, of course, did see, to give her credit, we did see Barb being very supportive, of their relationship on social media. I think she posted some quirky collages of the couples at some point. So, what her role was in all of this, obviously, we'll never know. But just someone from the outside looking in, I totally feel like behind the scenes, that could be a lot just as somebody's significant other, All right, you guys. Well, on that note, we of course want to know your thoughts. Do you want to see Kelley and Peter get back together? Do you think it's time for them to move on? Let us know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring. I was joined by the wonderful Avery Grooms. If you want to come say hi, our social handles are on the screen right now. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.